In this video, we are going to be making this seed stitch square. It's a 12-inch by 12-inch square, but look at that texture. I really like this texture. It's alternating between knit and purl stitches. Put this over to the side. The yarn I'm using is Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling yarn. 185 yards, it's 100% acrylic, a number 4 weight yarn. This one is Taupe Heather. I'm going to show you how to read this pattern, which you can download the PDF and print it out yourself if you would like, but the pattern you're going to have the square up here is going to tell you the supplies you need, and then abbreviations, which KO, which means knit over, knit, and then purl. I've got those wrote out a bit for you. Your pattern is also going to come with the stuff wrote out, and then there's a graph. This is just a 2-row repeat, so it's not a big confusing chart. But the way you read the chart is we are going to be casting on, and when we get to peg 50, that's the last peg of our cast on. That's where your working yarn will be coming from. So I have an arrow here that lets you know that row 1, your yarn should be coming from peg 50 and you'll be working to peg 1. And then for row 2, your yarn will be coming from peg 1 and you'll be working to peg 50. The circle dots here are purl stitches, and the empty ones are knit stitches. So for your row 1, your working yarn's coming from peg 50, you'll skip peg 50 and you will purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and repeat that till you get to peg 1. Peg 1, you will always, the last peg of every row, you will always do a knit stitch or a U-stitch. I do have it wrote out if you want to be able to tally off your rows as you go. You can just mark them off. I have the bind off all wrote out as well, so this is something you can download and print out if you want to be able to mark stuff off as you go. But this one is a very, it's just a 2-row repeat, and all it is purl 1, knit 1. On the loom, I marked peg 1 and peg 50. From there, I marked every other peg. I'm doing a chain cast on, so working yarn, the tail over top working yarn, and then you're going to pull that working yarn loop through to create a slip knot. Working yarn behind peg 1, and you're going to take that working yarn and pull it through this loop and tighten it up. Your first one's always going to be the most difficult. Kind of pull that tail there. You got a new loop. That loop goes behind peg 2. Working yarn, you pull through and you're making another loop. The back of the pegs will have 2 strands going across and the front will have 1. When working this pattern, or any project really, and you want your edges to be nice and even and symmetrical, it really helps with the blocks because it'll make it much easier when joining them later, because you have kind of like the same stitches on all edges. To do that, you're going to slip the first peg of every row, and you are going to wrap and turn the last peg. The wrap and turn I write out as a knit, but let's get going. Slipping the first stitch means that you're just skipping it. You're not working that one, you're going to the next. If you do work it, whatever you do, just be consistent, because if you do work it, you end up with little knots on the edge. This right here is what we want. We want a nice smooth edge. How to purl stitch. Yeah. Loom tool down through the top of the stitch, working yarn below. You're going to pull that working yarn up through. You've made a new loop here. Knock that old one off, and we got that new one on there. For our knit stitch, I am using the U-stitch, which is wrapped behind like that, and knit over. Oh, it might help if I get the whole strand. And knit over. Do another purl stitch down through the top, yarn below, pull up that new stitch, kick off the old. You can use the flat stitch for your knit stitch if you would like. That's just holding the working yarn across and knitting over. You will get very tight tension using the flat stitch instead of a U-stitch. Got another purl here. And I'll show you the true knit stitch. The true knit stitch is the exact opposite of a purl stitch. Whereas your purl stitch, loom tool down through the top, yarn below. The true knit, loom tool up through the bottom, working yarn over. And you pull that new stitch down. And you don't want your yarn crossed over. So you got that new stitch down, and you pop the old one off and tighten that up. Your true knit stitch, in all honesty, is going to give you the best outcome, the best look, the most even stitches, and it'll be the stretchiest. It also takes a lot longer, and some people get confused when you're going from knit to purl, knit to purl, knit to purl with which way you pull the yarn. So you will see me in most of my projects using the U-stitch. Now, how I keep track of where I'm at, if I'm coming from this direction, the empty pegs are going to be purl pegs. Those ones I purl on every single row that is coming from this direction. When you're working from peg 1 to peg 50, in that order, the pegs with the markers on them, those pegs you will do purl stitches for the entire project. Just offsetting those gives you that nice texture. Now, I told you the last peg of every row, I have it as a knit stitch. Technically, you'd call it a wrap and turn, but what that means is I'm doing my knit stitch, over around the front, that would be my U, and I knit over. Well, when you do that, when you come back to work in the opposite direction, it crosses that strand. If you do that, just do it every row, but if you go backwards and around, and then knit over, that strand doesn't cross. So your edge will look more like this. These will be symmetrical. If you cross them, it'll be a little more like, that one's kind of hard to tell, but the one side will be longer than the other. Time for our bind off. I'm using a super stretchy bind off, so you want to take your working yarn, wrap around the loom 3 times and cut. That just makes sure you have enough yarn to finish this bind off. Working yarn is coming from peg 1. Take the working yarn down through peg 2. This is your first step. Up through peg 1, so you go back 1. That's just... Alright, we got it started. You skip 1 yarn down through. Go back 1 yarn up. So skip 1 yarn down. Back and yarn up. Now you can take it off the loom. Let's have a look at it. I love this texture. And see how I've got my rows marked. I can remove those now. Every 5 rows I would put a stitch marker to help me keep track of where I was at, which when counting, since this has 2, you know, you have a knit and then a purl, a knit and a purl, these bumps, I count 5 bumps and put marks. That's actually 10 rows right there. So 2, 4, 6, 8, right there. That's 10 rows. Everybody, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. This texture is a really, really fun one. I really like it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications, all those things. Questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below. My email is in the video description below if you need to contact me directly. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and again, thank you.